Martin Luther, the Germanic theologian, monk, and professor, was a pivotal figure in the Protestant Reformation, a movement that fundamentally reshaped Christianity and Western society. His defiance of the Catholic Church, particularly his objection to the sale of the indulgences, led to the birth of Protestantism, forever altered religious and political dynamics in Europe. His essay explored his early life, key theological contribution, conflict with the Catholic Church, and his lasting impact on the world. Martin Luther was born on November 10, 1483 in Germany into a middle-class family. His father, Hans Luther, was ambitious and wanted his son to become a lawyer. Luther attended the University of Oxford, where he earned a master's degree in 1505. However, a life-changing event occurred that years when he was caught in a violent thunderstorm. Fearing for his life, he vowed to become a monk if he survived. True to his word, he joined the Augustinian monastery in Erfurt and later became a priest. Luther's religious studies deepened during his time in the monastery, leading him to question certain teachings of the Catholic Church. He continued his education and earned a doctorate in theology in 1512, eventually becoming a professor at the University of Edinburgh. He studies of the Bible convinced him that salvation came through faith alone, rather than through good work or financial contribution to the church. Luther's theological discontent came to the head in 1517 when he publicly changed the practice of selling indulgences. The Catholic Church under Pope Leo X was raising funds for the constructions of St. Peter's Basilica in Rome by selling indulgences, document that supposedly reduce punishment for sin. Luther saw this practice as corrupt and unbiblical. On October 13, 1517, Luther reportedly nailed his 95 theses to the door of the Wittenberg Castle Church. These theses outline his objections to indulgences and other church practices that he believed contradicted Scripture. His writing quickly spread throughout Europe thanks to the recently invented printing press, sparking a widespread debate about religious authorities and the nation of salvation. The Church views Luther's actions as heretical. In 1520, Pope Leo X issued a papal bull condemning Luther's teaching and demanding that he resent. When Luther refused, he was excommunicated. In 1521, later that year, he was summoned to the Diet of the Worms, a council where he was ordered to renounce his writing. He famously refused, declaring, "Here I stand, I can do no other." Facing potential executions, he was granted protections by Frederick the Wise, the Elector of Saxony, who hid him in Wartburg Castle. Luther's break with the Catholic Church led him to develop several foundations Protestants' doctrine. One of his most significant ideas was sola scriptura, The belief that the Bible is the sole authorities and master of the faith doctrine rather than church tradition or papal decree. This principle laid the groundwork for various Protestant denominations. Another central tenet of Luther's theology was sola fide, the idea that faith alone leads to salvation rather than good work or the intercessions of priests. He also rejected the Catholic doctrine of transubstantiations, which teach that the bread and wine in the Eucharist literally become the body and the blood of the Christ. Instead, he proposed consubstantiations, meaning Christ is present spiritually rather than physically. Luther also translated the Bible into the German, making it accessible to ordinary people. This act not only empowered believers to read scripture for themselves but also contributed to the standardizations of the German language. Luther's actions sparked a religious revolution. His teaching inspired other reformers such as John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli, leading to the foundations of the various Protestant movements across Europe. The Reformations also had profound political consequences as rulers used Protestantism to assert independence from the authority of the Catholic Church and the Holy Roman Empire. The Catholic Church responded with the counter-reformations, which included reform to address corruptions and reaffirm Catholic doctrine. However, the religious divisions created by the Reformations led to conflicts such as the 30-Year War, one of the most devastating wars in European history. Beyond religion, Luther emphasizes on personal faith. Scripture contributed to the rise of individualism, literacy, and democratic ideals. His influence extended into the realm of education as Protestant regions established schools to ensure that people could read the Bible. Moreover, his challenge to authority encouraged later movement advocating for religious freedoms and human rights. Martin Luther's defiance of the Catholic Church and his theological contributions reshaped the course of history. His insistence on faith-based salvation is captured as the ultimate authorities, and the accessibilities of religious texts laid the foundations for Protestantism. Influence broader cultures, political changes. Although his action led to the religious conflict, they also paved the way for greater religious diversity and personal freedom in spiritual matter. Even today, Luther's legacy endures, reminding the world of the power of conviction and the impact of challenging established institutions.